All right, welcome back. Joining me now is Senator Chuck Grassley, up for re-election again in Iowa. Senator Grassley, welcome, sir. Bless their little hearts. The lefties at the Washington Post and elsewhere, they're all talking about your age. So I want to go back in time to this soundbite. Please, sir, take a listen.
I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
I mean, that was one of the great moments in political history. That ended that race. It was probably over before. So they're trying to make age an issue in this election. You're ahead in the polls, maybe 3 points, you may be up 10 points. I don't know if I believe polls. What has your response been with respect to your opponent, Mr. Mike Franken?
Well, following the Reagan thing, I'm not going to make anything out of his inexperience, but he sure got bad policies. You know, he says that when it comes to inflation, that the Biden record is, in his words, fabulous. His performance is fabulous. And then when it comes to the lack of security at the border and all the fentanyl that's coming in, the wall is an idiotic idea. So I just have to assume from all those statements that he's going to be a rubber stamp for the Biden administration. Then he says some very bad things about our governor. Like he said, and all this stuff is on record, by the way. He said our Governor Reynolds ought to get on a broom and fly away. And then he says about Senator Joni Ernst, when he was asked if he was going to be a junior senator, how about working with Joni Ernst? And he says, I'm not going to be a junior senator. I'm going to be a leading senator. And Joni Ernst will understand that because she was only a lieutenant colonel in the National Guard. And by the way, he spoke that way because he's a retired vice admiral. But it's just entire difference between what I stand for and what he stands for. He even one time said that if he gets elected and he leads the Democrat Party in Iowa, that he wants to make Iowa more progressive than California. So you can see there's a big difference between us, and I'm making as much out of his policies as I can, and you can't take any vote in Iowa for granted. So obviously, if that 3 point is right, and I don't think it is right, I'm going to win, but you can't take any vote in Iowa for granted. So I've been working 3 meetings, sometimes 4 or 5. On Monday, I had 6 meetings a day. You just got to travel all over the state and work for it. You can't take anybody for granted.
Is this guy, first of all, I've been reading about this, Ray. He spent most of his time outside of Iowa. A lot of voters don't like that because they don't think he really knows Iowa, certainly not the way you know Iowa. By the way, Kim Reynolds may be one of the best, maybe the best governor in the whole country, and Joni Ernst is an old friend. But does he know Iowa? Nobody knows Iowa the way you know Iowa. I've known you all these years, and nobody knows Iowa the way you know Iowa.
I think the way I know Iowa is I travel to each one of the 99 counties every year for all the years I've been in the United States Senate. And I have a Q&A in every one of those stops. And I let my constituents set the agenda. And I take any question, personal, political, or issue, and we just have to deal with it. And that's what it takes to make representative government work. You've got to know what's on your constituents' minds, and what I don't hear at town meetings, I very thoroughly observe what they're telling us through email, postal mail, telephone calls, things of that nature. I try to make representative government work, and that's the way I do it, by traveling Iowa. And then when we're in session, you know, I have 27 years until I had COVID that I didn't miss a vote. So I cast 8,927 votes without missing a vote. And then I had COVID, missed 10 votes, and I haven't missed a vote since then. So, you know, I have the best record since Bill Proxmire had a record of not missing a vote for 22 years. So I think I work very hard at it, and the people of Iowa expect us to work hard at it, and that's just what I hope I can continue to serve them for another 6 years. If anybody wants to help me get reelected, go to grassleyworks.com. grassleyworks.com.
Senator Grassley, does your opponent favor all of the spending bills which have caused the rise of inflation? Does he favor the shutdown of the oil and gas industry, which has caused recession and inflation? Does he understand the fuel shortages are hurting the country? I mean, what does he say to all this stuff? Besides his high-handedness regarding you and Joni Ernst and Kim Reynolds, what does he say to these specific issues?
Well, I have to believe that he feels that Congress didn't have anything to do with inflation, because he spoke to the fact that Congress can't do anything to fight inflation. And obviously we can, because this new Congress has spent another $3 trillion that Larry Summers, former Secretary of Treasury, said, don't spend any more money and you'll feed the fires of inflation. And remember, inflation was only 1.4 when this person took office. Now it's 8.2. So I have to assume that he agrees with these programs, because he says Biden's doing a fabulous job, and things of that nature. And I don't hear anything except making fun about the wall that Trump built. And we know that wall works. I've been down there and see that wall, and it needs to be completed. And this president decided not to complete this wall. And that's why we have this fentanyl coming into the country. By the way, I had a drug caucus a public hearing yesterday at the courthouse in Des Moines, Iowa. And I listened to 3 parents that lost kids 17 to 23 years old tell about how just a little bit of fentanyl, milligrams of fentanyl, can kill, and kill their kid, and what we're doing about it. And when this administration doesn't enforce the laws at the border, and yes, people are coming in for the American dream, but the fentanyl's coming in with them, killing 200 Iowans last year, 70,000 Americans last year. If the president was concerned about life, he would make sure that these things can't come across the border and kill Americans. But it doesn't seem to bother this president. And my opponent thought the wall was idiotic.
Well, Senator Grassley, you sound great. I don't think you've lost a step. I've known you all these years. And it's lovely, again, we've had these interviews on this show, and you haven't yelled at me once. You haven't yelled at me one time, which is so good. Really terrific stuff. Anyway, well, sir. Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on the campaign trail, Senator Chuck Grassley. We appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you.